And welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. We have Chris from Movies and Munchies, myself, Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday, also in the 90s. My hairstyle seems like I'm from a sitcom in the 90s. I don't know what it's doing. I apologize for this in advance. On the audio, at least you don't have to see my face. What we do normally every week is we talk about the best thing we watch. We also have a Patreon that starts at just £1. You can watch a bunch of videos outside of the paywall to get an idea of what we have in there. But there's over 60 videos in there at the moment. This week, we're adding a couple. I'm excited to be talking about a really weird film. What's that called, Chris?
The Bothersome Man.
The Bothersome Man. That's going to be a really interesting review. And it's all Chris's fault.
Weird.
That's why it's interesting. And we are reviewing the second season of Lilyhammer, which I think will be great. On the Patreon, we also do the exclusive audio content along with the video content in there. If you're somebody that wants to watch us like video, you want to get that for £1 with the extra stuff. It's all on there every week as well as just an extra little helping, just because we appreciate you guys and those that are supporting us there as well. But for all of you that are here, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate your googly eyes and your googly ears and the audio exclusive content. Apart from the video stuff that we have here, we always talk about a film that we haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time. We also talk about the not so best thing that we watched this week. It's not always terrible. Sometimes it is. Then we talk about entertainment news and what we are looking forward to. So that pretty much covers it, except for Chris doing the movie quote quiz. And I believe you know if anybody won last week.
Yes. We had Teddy and Friends, which I think is the first time that they've won, which is outstanding because I think they're about bears, if I remember their channel correctly, which was awesome.
Okay.
And then Chris Retzlaff and Red Comet, they knew that it was the McKinsey brothers in the first quote, but I don't know. I don't remember if they both got that it was the movie or not. But everybody was there were a few people who were able to guess, which was really impressive. That it was Shakespeare adaptations.
Right.
So, number one, Strange Brew, which
is
is a retelling of Hamlet. What?
Right. I've never even heard of it.
For the audio, I'm just sitting here stunned because that's why there's dead air.
There's so much, like almost every week now, you'll say there's the really old film from a long time ago, which nobody cares about, Chris. And I'm like, is it good though? Is it?
Dude, this is Bob and Doug McKenzie.
I will put it on my list. It's
Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis as two Canadian brothers.
I do love Rick. All right.
And it is a retelling of Hamlet.
What's it called again?
Strange Brew. I think it's like 1984, maybe 85, 83, something like that.
I've told myself to watch it.
I own this on Blu-ray. I mean, it's
well, can you post it to me?
No, I'm not sending you my copy. Oh, it won't work. The Blu-rays are regional specific.
Yeah, true. You don't have it in 4K?
Not yet. No, I don't even know if it's available on 4K.
It's probably not. Okay, back to the quiz.
Anyway, okay. So Strange Brew is number one.
Yeah.
Number two, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Nice.
Which is Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah.
And then Warm Bodies, which is Romeo and Juliet.
Nice. Yeah, I quite like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That made me laugh a lot.
I mean, of all of them you could have chosen, there's so many adaptations, like modern versions of Shakespeare, which is fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I was most impressed that people knew Strange Brew because a lot of people don't realize that it's Hamlet.
Or have never heard of it or seen it. Yeah.
Well, those people are uneducated and need movications.
Apparently. Is that a word? Movication?
Dude, it was in Pitch Perfect.
Oh.
I watched that this week.
That makes a word.
Yeah. Come on. All words are made up. Okay. You ready? We've wasted enough time. You ready for this week's theme? Or
yes.
I'm not going to tell you the theme. I'm going to give you the quotes. Okay.
Homicide.
Number one. Great. We've got nothing in common, and she's got a voice like a tuba. If she had her way, we'd have sex on a bed of nails on national television. But at least the party stinks.
Wow. That just sounds like Ryan Reynolds to me. Okay, but okay.
Okay, number two. Thank you as well for the conversational hiatus. I genuinely refrain from speech during gustation. There are those who attempt both at the same time. I find it coarse and vulgar. Where were we? Number 3. People just do the strangest things when they believe they're entitled, but they do even stranger things when they just plain believe.
Okay.
There is a theme. Yeah. Okay. So let us know in the comments. We will give you the shout out next week. Ruben, do you have a question for us?
It's more people need to respond to us question again.
Okay.
So we had one good story from. Do you remember when I asked? You can check on your. I think it was on your video. I'm not sure, but yeah, we had one good story, which I appreciated someone kind of letting us know, and it was fairly horrific as well. So I was like, dang, okay. But this is less dark and more funny.
Okay.
But I wanted to know, what is the most embarrassing situation you've been in, but without you knowing, and then you found out afterwards? So, like just today, I had an embarrassing situation where I was editing a review for The Wilderness in Costa Coffee, waiting for my wife to come out of an interview. She was somewhere, and I found the coffee place, and so I'm editing, and it's fairly loud because there's people all around. So I've turned up the volume, and I'm like, why? I'm really struggling to hear. Like, why is this not working? The jack is in. It's not until I start watching a bit of not a dodgy film, but it has like some sex stuff in after I've done my edit that I was reviewing for Patreon, do I realize that the sound hadn't worked, that like the AC3 codec hadn't worked, and so everybody is listening to firstly my review of me editing and talking a load of nonsense, and then watching this weird ass movie,
dodgy
and nobody touches me on the shoulder going, hey, they just all go about their business, and like, so that's embarrassing after the fact. I was wondering, Chris, do you have any of those stories?
I'm sure I probably have a lot of them. Oh gosh, that was my email popping in. Sorry about that.
I didn't hear anything.
Well, that's good. It probably just can't. Well, we'll see. I was watching on a plane one time. I had a little tablet, and I was watching the Boondock Saints.
Nice.
Okay, now with headphones in, I mean, there's so much cussing in this movie, it's so nobody can hear it.
Yeah.
I forgot though that they go into a strip club, and one of the dudes, touches the boob and everything else, and so. Like when it comes on, I think I was sitting on the aisle at that point. So people behind me can see this, and all of a sudden there's a naked woman on there, and I'm like, oh, are there kids around?
Trying to cover the screen.
Yeah. Because my luck is that somebody will look up just at that moment where you have like a dancer on the screen, and they're like, what in the crap is this person? This person's over here watching porn on the plane, and.
Because I'll often watch something like a TV series in my room with Kirsten. Our door's open. We don't have like a closed door policy unless you can change or something, just privacy, whatever. So the kids can come in whenever. But like without a doubt, they will always pick the moment where it's like the dodgy
awkward
sex scene from Game of Thrones, or something like that. Well, to be fair, in Game of Thrones, that's almost
that's
like every few seconds. But other series, like there hasn't been anything dodgy until that moment, and then your sons look at you with disgust and like, leave the room.
What are you watching, Dad?
Yeah. Good parenting. So let us know in the comments, what is some of the embarrassing moments you've had, if you don't mind sharing. After the fact, like when you're embarrassed, sometimes, but it's after the fact. Sometimes it's worse. Like you don't realize your zip has been down the whole day, and you've got toilet paper either like hanging out your your trousers or the bottom of your shoe, something like that. Yeah.
I went to the grocery store with my fly open.
It's like a dodgy dude walking through the supermarket.
Yeah, getting tackled and weird eyes by all kinds of parents and stuff.
Good times.
Oh man, cool. That's a good question.
Yeah. So let's talk about what was the best thing that we watched this week.
Cool. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I don't mind. One of us has to go first.
Yeah, well, this is true. Okay, I'll go.
Wait. Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Rock.
1, 2.
I was going to go rock, paper, scissors. Okay. 1, 2, 3. On 3?
Go. Yeah.
Or after 3?
1, 2, 3. Reveal.
1, 2, 3, go. Okay. 1, 2,
3. The delay here is like it's.
Let's try again. I'll follow your lead. 1, 2, 3. All right, forget it. You go first. That's going to be impossible to do.
This is good, and more people tuning out by the second.
For the audio, the delay, it didn't work. We both ended up with the same thing because we could see what we're doing. All right, Chris is going to go first.
Okay, so this came out on Netflix on Friday the 15th of September, and I wasn't sure about it. I didn't know really what it was at first. I mean, I had seen a little bit of a trailer, knew that it was a black and white film. I thought it was going to be non-English language, and I thought there was a vampire story within it. It's called El Conde. And it's English and Spanish. There's English narration to it, which makes sense, and then a lot of the people are talking back and forth. It is in Spanish. Basically, it's a reimagining of Pinochet within Chile, where he took over and ruled. And this though looks at him as a vampire who's been alive for well over 250 years, and he's just tired. He's just done, and so he's not going to go on. He's not going to continue living. And that brings in then his kids, who are all adults, who are greedy, and they're just coming to pillage.
Oh, okay. They want what he has. Is he rich?
They think he's rich. They're like, I mean, come on. First off, you've been alive for a really long time, and then you were the dictator of this country. So there was corruption all around. How could you not have money?
You must have amassed money. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then within that, a nun is called by one of the kids as an accountant to just look through all the stuff, tell them what's valuable, what's not valuable, all the yeah, exactly. And the nun, though, I don't think they know she's a nun. She is an exorcist, which doesn't really make sense within a vampire story. But she's basically there because
what is she going to exorcise?
He's of the devil, right? And so she's her mission is, if he is a vampire, she's to kill him. It's very satirical. It's very, very funny, but it is deadpan too. And the humor is very witty because it's what they're saying and then mixing that with the facial expressions or the body movements of what's being said. And, so it looks like it's presented in black and white. It's kind of almost a square. It's not quite 1-to-1 ratio, but it's similar.
Okay.
There's large portions without speaking. Just some music and a character walking or doing something, some silent action.
I have to say, you're not selling it for me. This doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
It sounds like it could be pretentious.
Yeah.
And it borders on that. Yeah, but it's not. I mean, there are artsy moments within there, but it's hilarious. The special effects, there are practical effects when violence is brought about.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal and disgusting. And it is wow. The flying, like we see in the trailer, the Count flies. Okay. And
is he Dracula?
He's not Dracula, but he is a vampire.
Okay.
And so when the flying scenes happen, almost every single time, like, it doesn't look like it's green screen or even wire work, really. There are a couple times where it looks like, I mean, you can definitely tell they're on wires, or maybe even in front of a green screen with wires, because it just kind of looks a little dodgy there. But for the most part, It looks flawless.
Not what I expected from this film, to be honest, for them to be concentrating on that part.
Yeah, no, it was really, I mean, it's the whole package together. I don't think everybody is going to just totally love this head over heels. I was blown away by it. I went in just hoping for something fun, maybe a little quirky. Definitely quirky. Cinematography is spectacular. Some of it reminds me of like a Wes Anderson film. So you have very centered, characters, a lot of symmetry there.
Is that what could you compare it to?
Oh gosh. Like I said, like part of the feeling of it is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's Middle Eastern, I think, black and white vampire movie. It's artsy as well. Okay. This one,
nothing like there was another artsy Byzantine, anything like that.
Oh, I didn't like that movie.
Okay.
This one had a point to it for me. I mean, it was, because you're watching all of the family dynamics, and then the father figure within there either being fed up and then maybe changing his mind, or at least beginning to look at his kids and go, I don't know, maybe I don't want to die. Maybe I want to keep going because they all suck.
Is this a spoiler? But if he's a vampire, are they all vampires then? Like his kids?
They are not vampires.
Oh,
no.
Interesting. Okay.
Which is a fun little twist, because like his wife, now he's old, and that they explain that, how you can age as a vampire.
Right. So they have their own law, which is interesting.
Yeah, and it's explained and it makes sense. And the wife wants to be bit. She wants to be a vampire.
She wants to be a vampire. He won't do it.
Yeah, but he won't do it. Okay. And so it's just I think, yes, could be pretentious, very artsy, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The soundtrack, the score is just wonderfully paired with it. It's extremely funny, biting. It's like I said in my review, you have to watch it though. You can't be doom scrolling on your phone. You have to be really in tune with the movie, because the verbiage that they use is quick and it's smart. And yeah, I don't know. It's on Netflix, El Conde. I gave it 5 out of 5 because I was blown away. So there you go.
Okay. That's, yeah.
You're not sold. I know.
No, but see, the difference with that one is, I'm not a huge fan of Wes Anderson. I know you love Wes Anderson. So when I think about artsy fartsy and little bits of that, and then the pretentious nature of some black and whites, but it also could be excellent. So,
see, and I don't think Wes Anderson's story or anything like that. It's truly just the visual of you having some characters who are center frame, because not even everything is symmetrical. I mean, it's just more so centered, and they use that as a way to draw you into the dialogue that's happening and make it more personal. So that you're it's like you're in between two characters, and so you'll be like this, and then you'll turn and see the other person talk, and then go back. And
okay, is it anything like the dry New Zealand vampire series? Because you said it wasn't quite a straight movie; that it was what's the word you used? Because there's the series with Taika Waititi who does Shadows.
Oh, that one's more like overtly funny.
Yeah.
It's trying to be more funny. This is just funny.
Okay.
Not them trying to be like ridiculous or anything else. I mean, there's some absurdity that that comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice. I might watch that. If I put it on with my partner, Kirsten, then I might have to watch it through, because like she I get bored, want to turn things off, and she's like, no, you got to see it through. So
yeah, it's not that long. It's under 2 hours.
Okay, so. Cool. Yeah. All right. Where do I start? Let me get this over with. So this is like a duo. It's a double feature because we've seen both of these, but here in the UK, Barbie came out digitally, so you can, I don't know if it's been out there for you, must have been worldwide.
Yeah, it's on digital now here too.
Yeah, cool. And The Flash is coming out, I think it was out now on 4K physical edition. So I got sent the digital screener for Barbie. And
cool.
Kirsten hadn't watched that, and I'm very happy to say that it gets better. Like, I loved it the first time, but it gets better second viewing, especially when you're watching with someone that hasn't seen it, and listening to Kirsten talking about like her experiences with Barbie when she grew up, having the same discussion we have, like that's not actually a kid's film at all, but how many different messages and the balance of that. Me seeing the message of actually it's not hating men at all right from the beginning. This time I saw the message of men needing to find their own identity and not being held up by women so much. Like there's this balancing act that the film goes through, and I think through multiple viewings you'll see more of it. And Kenergy, I really want a pink jumper with the word Kenergy on it. I gotta have it, man. So loved it, and the songs were great, and the message was fine, and I didn't feel the time. I thought it was great, so that's good. Because I wondered, like sometimes you don't know. You watch it, you go in with the hype, everybody's enjoying it. Like, was I just caught up in the hype? That's easy to do sometimes when everybody in the cinema is experiencing like the same thing, and the energy's there. So yeah, that was good. The Flash 4K release. Okay, so I still enjoy the film, but the CG is not great. Like it just isn't. However, after The Flash, they put in all the special features that the 4K has got. So I went through all of those, watched the making of, beautiful making of, like a 45 minutes.
Oh wow!
Well, at least over half an hour, like doc on the making of. And I have to say, I appreciate the film so much more after watching all the special features, because they talk about like what they had to go through to get the film made, and like we had an idea, but you don't really know how much they struggled to get this film made, and what all those things that you think because of the CG it takes so much away from it, but you forget how much they got right with the CG. Like the things that you glance over, you're like, oh, that wasn't the fact that Barry Allen, the second guy, that 95% was another actor that looked like Barry, but they just kind of were doing his face on it, and he was acting there the whole time. It was great. So the mannerisms are physical. There's a nice 10-15 minute like sequence where they talk about the making of the Batcave and how it's the biggest Batcave. It's bigger than Nolan's. It's bigger than Tim Burton's. Wow. They recreated Burton's with a bit of Nolan's, so they had a mishmash, and it's a physical set. Like it's everything you see is there. It's not CG. Like there's a little bit of green screen, but if you go and watch the special features, you'll see just everything. And there's this moment where where Batman, Keaton comes in, and he walks forward the iconic moment and says, "I'm Batman." And you just see the crew stop because they're realizing nobody thought that they were going to get to see Keaton in the suit again. And seeing him in the suit in that moment, they're realizing they're watching something special. Now, what was heartbreaking is that this Batcave looked absolutely amazing. You get to see everything from the actual car that was in the warehouse. How they actually had to get it in there was crazy, like without scratching it, without damaging it, lifted on a weird sort of crane. And because obviously the Batcave is awkward to get things into, then having to dismantle it and not leave it there for like become a thing for people to come and visit. It's like, it's incredible. In England, they found a street that they had to recreate an American street, and they basically built the front edges of like the houses, right? Really? All those, you know where Barry lived with his family.
Yeah.
Because it was COVID, they filming in COVID, so they had to build this American. It's part of the reason why it had like the bigger budget it did, because they couldn't take the crew then and go back to America because they were in their own bubble. So it was a much harder shoot. But then you go into the costumes, and it's really one of those. I you know me, I love watching the special features how to make it because we love film. But this one I think is quite special because it has really good moments at showing what goes into making the costumes, how hard it was, the love that the crew genuinely had for each other, with the actors having a really great experience because they spent a long time, I think it was like 6 months at least, just day in and day out, 14 hours a day. They became a proper family unit. And you get that from all the special features you see. I didn't realize that the director's wife was the producer. So she's there with them, and they're just like going through everything, what it took to make The Flash come to fruition. So when you go back and watch it after having watched the special features, there's an insight there to you understanding everything that and suddenly like, okay, I wish they'd done something about the CG or the idea of why that was, because you had the budget for it, the decision making, but now I like all these bits so much more. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it when they when you have a different insight into it and it gives you a better appreciation of something, you know.
Yeah, so. It really did. So and just like that there's this I'm not talking about like the really important special features. Like there's a whole story, which I'm sure you can find out what it's called. I have it here somewhere. What do you call those dramatizations on audiobooks?
Like a radio play?
Yeah, it's like a radio play. You know, like what is
drama? Audio drama.
Yeah, an audible drama. There's an audible original drama with the Flash. 6 parts, all broken up on part of the Flash 4K, and it's really good quality. Like the story is excellent, full cast. Like that would normally cost like you £30, and they've just added it on there. And there is I think it's a 20-minute doc about Supergirl, and it goes through all of the Supergirls that we've had from the TV series 1 to the original. There's some interviews of them, and then showing the importance of how important it was to have this new Supergirl and why they went the darker route with her storyline, and just knowing when they had it right, seeing that moment when she lifts off, she's wearing the outfit for the first time, and you're like, oh, we got this right. It's weird that some of my best moments are the non-Flash moments. Those worked better for me, I think. Yeah, I do think the CG let it down a lot. Zod, seeing that actor when he talks about the professionalism of that actor. It's been 10 years since he did that character Zod, and he stepped into it like that, just fully immersed. I was like, yeah, it's great.
I love Michael Shannon.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. Anywho, I will stop gushing about those films now.
Okay, cool. Well, fun. All right, the next movie I watched, funny enough, kind of has a superhero tie to it.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's a very weird situation. The movie is already out on, like, to watch online, like on digital or on demand in the UK and probably in other parts of the world.
Okay.
In the United States, it's coming to limited theaters in the next week, and then it might expand a little bit as the weeks go on. But it's called Rebel, and it came out in 2022, and that's when it started hitting the festival circuits.
Right.
It is by the directors who did Batgirl, that has been permanently shelved, deleted, just never to see the light of day by Warner Brothers.
Okay.
So you have these two friends telling this story. Now, this is a story that follows 2 brothers and a mom. One brother is like adult. One is a kid. I don't know, he's 12, maybe 13 at the most. Probably a little bit younger than that. And they live in Belgium. And the oldest son gets into drug problems and decides to turn his life around. Okay. So he then becomes an aid worker. And he goes, now they're are they Arab? I think they're anyway, he goes to the Middle East as an aid worker and is grabbed by ISIS or Daesh.
Oh, no. Okay.
And Like, he doesn't want to be there. I mean, he was there as a to help people, and now he's with a terrorist organization, and he's forced. I mean, it's either that or die. Right. I mean, he either goes along with it or not. And so we get to watch his struggle with this and how he has to participate, but because he has all this experience doing music videos, he tries to get in. Well, he does get into that area of it. So he's doing less of the actual any gun work and more of camera work.
Okay.
But he does get forced to do other things that he doesn't want to do. Back in Belgium, or Brussels, excuse me, it's Brussels, not Belgium. Back in Brussels, the younger son or the younger brother and the mom are still there. Well, the boy is being groomed by ISIS people there. Like, and he doesn't realize it. They're like, oh yeah, no, we're great friends with your brother. Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll get you to see him in just a little bit, and they're just indoctrinating him all this time. The mom's trying to fight against that. This is a harrowing story. It's a little over 2 hours. It is beautiful. It has some one shots where it's just like, golly, in a war zone, the camera is just following characters, and it gets a little shaky every now and then, but it is just like, riveting. There are moments, I think there's like 4 or 5 moments within this where the soundtrack starts playing, which is not odd because there's been music, in and out throughout the entire movie. And a song will start, and then it kind of transitions, and all of a sudden you notice that the main character that we're looking at in that scene is singing. They're performing, and so the scene transitions from like pure action to kind of like a little bit of a dreamlike type of thing. And so it's a different type of storytelling, completely reinforcing the story though. Oh my goodness. Okay. And the first time it happened, I was like, that's weird. Like, that's a little strange. I don't know if I like this. But then they do it several more times throughout. Not annoyingly, just when it's really called for. And the way that it helps to reinforce everything, I thought was just beautiful. I mean, it was insane at how well it ended up working. Yeah. And this is, because it's dealing with real life events. This is not your, yay, I feel so happy when the movie ends.
It's not going to... Will you need to watch something happier afterwards?
Yeah, you probably want to. I mean, it was a devastating movie, but it was so good also. Does
it have a good ending?
It has an ending.
Great.
I think there is a little bit of a convenience built into the ending, but that's to allow it to go just like into the pits of hell and despair.
Right. Okay. So you need a little bit.
So
I realize the world sucks. Can you give me something nice, please?
Yeah. But within there, the apple is kind of rotten.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. If people want to watch it in the UK, it's on Amazon now.
Nice.
Prime.
For rent or on Prime?
Just on Prime. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dang. Okay. Put this on your watch list. Watch it right away. This is another one, 5 out of 5 for me.
Wow.
I was like,
I've put it on my list. Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it.
Dude, it is so good. I mean, carve out some time for yourself. It's emotionally draining and devastating to watch, but it is.
I'll watch Dodgeball afterwards.
Yeah. There you go. Exactly. That's what you need. Yep. Cool.
Nice. Yeah. Great recommendation. Okay, so this one is going to be challenging for me to review because it's called The Changeling, but not The Challenging. My dyslexic brain is like... okay, so 8 episodes. I've seen them all now. They've dropped the first 3. Is the 4th one out now? Is it?
The 4th one's out, I believe, now.
The 4th one's out now. Okay, so... I loved the first 4 or 5 episodes. I thought spectacular acting. I think you reviewed it. Did you speak about it last week?
Did I think I might have, yeah, because I watched the first 3 or 4
you watched
episodes.
the first 3, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I've caught up and I've watched all 8. So the acting's great. So I'm not going to go too much over ground that you've already spoken about. Just to say that I still haven't figured out what it is.
Really?
Yeah, so there are definitely episodes where you think, oh, okay, that's definitely the fairy tale within the reality, but it also points to people just losing their damn minds. And you kind of understand why. There's an episode, I think it's the last episode, where you kind of go, okay, this is what it is. Except it leaves it on a massive cliffhanger. Like, we're literally getting to that moment where we have the story explained. Mm-hmm. Everything is kind of about to, it's that moment. The big story, the kid, because I don't think that's spoilers, but they're trying to find their kid, right?
Yeah, because he believes in the first 3 episodes that the kid has died.
Yeah.
That she killed him. Yeah.
And that's like the big mystery. And then obviously there's a lot more to it. It's like, if Disney didn't get to babyfy their fairy tales, this is kind of what like Grimm's Brothers would have put out. And because of that, it has a fantastical element with the mystery, I would say, presence that's there all the time. It's great. So and it does keep you on edge. Then there's episode, I think it's 6, where the whole episode could be a stage play. You might love it, Chris, but the dialogue is like it's focuses on one character mainly. You get a lot of sort of flashback, but it feels like they're living in a reality of their own for this episode. And it's beautifully done, but the pacing is so abrupt. It's so different. It stops. So I think Kirsten, with her background with theatre, she really appreciated some of it. But for me, I was just like, you went from episode 6, which was moving along the story quite a bit. Now you're having this whole episode trying to explain to us what has happened. And so here's me thinking, how are they going to wrap this up in 8? I really thought it was a limited series. But to get to the end where they just go, bam! And leave you. Now, I don't know if we're getting another season. Apple are fairly good at getting seasons 2. So I can think that we should. But it's going to be a minimum of a year because of the strikes, like a minimum. Yeah. So then they're hoping that we will remember the emotional entanglement that we had for our characters, or they're expecting people to go back and watch. But people don't have that much time anymore to do that. So, like, how many times have you gone and you've forgotten, and the second season's not as good because there's been so much time? Had you come off the back of, I mean, that's almost impossible for them to do. But a lot of series manage this. They're off for 9 months, but they're back. Like, it's not a full year. And you still remember. Sometimes you might go back and watch like the last episode just to kind of, but it has a bit of time, but not too much where you don't miss out on things. This one is so all over the place with the emotions and the characters and the beautiful cinematography, the way they're putting together these big monologues that are, just incredibly done. Everybody's emotion is heightened to the wazoo because it's dealing with kids and fairy tale things. There's a particular character that starts off being, he's a bit weird, to just something else, which I loved the progression. There is like journeys of these characters. So like as a series, it's put together phenomenally. It's wonderfully acted. To look at, like, every scene feels like you're getting a feast. Like it's wonderful. But then for me, there's that episode 6. This is like, I don't know what you guys are expecting me to feel in this episode, and then you leave me hanging with. So like, it sounds like I'm coming down hard in it, but it's not. It's in the best thing I've watched. It's incredible. It's really good.
Do you think there's going to be enough story left to fill up a whole another season, especially if it felt like they were getting ready to explain everything?
I don't know, man. Like, it feels like they could drag this out for many seasons. Like, it's this, because of what they did, how they reached the ending. If that's what they're doing, then it could be many seasons that they're just going to be one of those dragging us through the mud until we get to the end, and it wasn't really even that
worth it.
Yeah.
I hope. I mean, Apple has not let us down very much at all. So
that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited to watch the remaining episodes.
I mean, they're incredible. Like, there's no doubt. Like, every episode, if you enjoyed the first 4, you're gonna love the rest.
Yeah, I thought it was a limited series though too. So
that's come on,
really? Yeah. Well, and we're getting more and more limited series right now,
and that's a good idea.
I think so too. I mean, it's I think part of it is a result of the writer strike. So studios just pay your freaking writers and your actors. Just give them what they need to live. But I'm also so down for just a ton of limited series.
Yeah. One-time stories, done and dusted.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his face on Netflix has been doing that, and they're incredible. Our favorite horror director. He's bringing out
Mike Flanagan.
Yeah. He's bringing out the House of Usher, the Fall of the House of Usher. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the previous ones have been so good. I really want to rewatch the church one. What was that?
Midnight Mass.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So good. Midnight Mass.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Well, and and when he did the one with the kids, the Midnight Book Club, Murder Book Club, whatever that was called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it wasn't a one-off, and then
left us and
canceled.
Then got cancelled.
Yeah. So
typical.
Yeah. Okay. Happier note. Last night I went and saw A Haunting in Venice.
Ah, man.
We didn't have a screening here, so I just went to the theater and saw it.
I'm so glad this isn't your best thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. Let me get some of the negatives out of the way first.
All right.
It's less than 2 hours. I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes. I felt the time at one point.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, I did. There is a lot of exposition. It feels like...
But telling and not showing, that's... Well, I guess you kind of expect dialogue heavy for this, for Perot.
Yes and no. I mean, some of it, like my son was pointing out, when we were talking about it afterwards, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I don't know. It just feels like when you're in a book and you're reading it and they state who they are and why they're there, versus being able to work that in
dialogue, like in a conversation, work that in as to who they are.
Yeah. So it feels more natural while you're watching it. I mean, in a book form, that makes sense, right? Because it's building the story for us in that world. But we have the visuals within there so that... Anyway.
Sorry, can you hear that?
Is that an ice cream truck?
That's an ice cream van, yeah.
I would like a creamsicle, please.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so some of the exposition, it was exposition heavy in parts that it didn't need to be. There is, most of the cinematography is outstanding. Like they use a ton of Dutch angles, and because this is a mystery / like going into possible horror thriller realm,
it works.
They work.
Yeah,
they work because of the geometry of the location too. You have these really tall rooms and everything. So looking up, at an angle, or looking down at an angle, just different things like that. I
was on a film shoot where a guy said, "Dutch it," like literally every shot, and I was just like, "You son." The camera operator at one point, he was just like, "You do it. I'm not Dutching anymore."
So those worked, but there is a point where Kenneth Branagh is wearing those things that are attached to you, attached to the actor, so that the camera is facing them, so that it's a fixed point. They walk, they're always in the center of the frame, but the background moves. You know what I'm talking about there? Yeah. They switched to that for a scene, and totally breaks you out of the thing, because it's nothing else like that in the film has been filmed this way.
I thought you were going to say that was excellent. It's so good, but
no, it's terrible. Okay. And then they have a sequence right after that, or in the middle of it, that looks like it was either shot on a GoPro or with a phone. And then it goes back to the normal cinematography.
To that little bit?
I don't know. There's like this 3-minute segment that you're just like,
did you lose the footage and you just somebody like just go get those shots quick?
Yeah, I don't know. It was oh no, that was not good. Okay, so the positives. First off, this is a mystery. It's Agatha Christie story from the Halloween Party. So it's an adaptation of it. It's probably not, exact. And I haven't read that one. So this was a complete...
It's not going to be supernatural because it's Agatha Christie.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Cool.
Because remember, this is an adaptation also. So it's not just a straight...
Fair enough.
Work. But the mystery angle of it, one part... I got like almost immediately because I just thought it was just
too obvious.
Just kind of obvious. You know what I mean? Like you could guess it easily and be like, oh, okay, I'm not surprised by that. But at the end, nope, there's so many things that I was like, oh, nope, didn't get that. Whoa, nope, didn't get that either.
And oh, well, that's fun.
And as Poirot is going through the through all of the suspects and everything, I mean, I'm making guesses, like you do, and wrong. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want in a mystery. I don't want to be able to guess it, and the story itself is good because it's contained in one location,
right?
In this big piazza or palazzo, is that what they're called in Venice? Yeah. And so it's a really big, tall house. There are some dark moments in this, like that I did not expect the story to take.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's lore that's hinted at or talked about overtly within just what's going on. And you're like, oh, well, that's a great bit of lore. You know what I mean? It adds some ominousness to the location or some spookiness or whatever. But the story takes it darker, and it's like, wow, okay.
So how is Detective Poirot in this?
He's fine. I mean, actually, I like what we watch him go through.
Okay.
There is he still has all of the hubris and all of the arrogance, of that. But there are moments in this where he's shook, and
he shooketh,
and Branagh. Yeah, shooketh. Yeah, and Branagh does it really well.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think it's a little self-indulgent. I mean, that he's directing each of these movies and he's the star of it and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, this day and age, you got to get work however you got to get it, Chris.
Exactly. And you know what? If you want to wear the silly mustache and do these fun mysteries,
I love his mustache.
Go for it. Oh, dude, totally, absolutely. I mean, go for it. You know what I mean? They're fun, they're enjoyable,
stories,
they're engaging, and if you can keep the obscurity of the answer till the end, awesome.
Good on you. So how would you rank them? Because there's three.
I have not seen Death on the Nile yet.
See, woo!
Yeah, I know. It's on Disney Plus here, and so I need to watch it.
Yeah.
And it's literally, it has been since the theater since I watched
with the Orient
Express.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen them a couple of times. I really enjoyed them. So
I enjoyed Murder on the Orient Express. I mean, I don't think it's like a perfect movie.
So for me,
but
it was groundbreaking because I'd never seen the original. I didn't know of the ending. So when I got there,
I didn't know the ending either.
Okay, I was just like, dude.
I love mysteries. I love detective stories like that. And when and you're using as your source the greatest mystery writer ever. I don't know if you've ever read And Then There Were None. It had several other titles by Agatha Christie though, but it's the most politically correct one is And Then There Were None. That story is so masterfully written that even if you guess, you're like, oh, no, well, no, that was wrong.
And then there were none.
Yeah.
I'm going to read it.
Dude.
Adding it to
I can't wait to hear your reaction after you read it because it's like, there's always the explanation at the end, right? To wrap it up, to tell us what happened, which is thank you. We need this in this. You know what I mean? If you've written such a great mystery, you need to reward the audience by providing the clues and the resolution to it. So good. A funny thing in A Haunting in Venice. Okay, so it's directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's his last movie, but recently he directed Belfast, which was kind of a loose retelling of his childhood and everything else. Mm-hmm. Well, that starred Jamie Dornan, and Katrina Balfe, and a newcomer, Jude Hill. It was his first movie, this little kid who played him, basically, in the movie. Yeah. Okay. Jamie Dornan and Jude Hill are back in Haunting in Venice, playing father and son.
Interesting.
Really cool.
I do like these. I mean, I feel sad for other actors not being able to get in, but I like the crews that work together because you kind of know, you can breathe a sigh of relief that when you're going into, at least you know the performance is good, right? So you can like, they're going to play their parts well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is, I would see this as fast as possible. Like, you know what I mean? As soon as you're able, just so that no spoilers are given. Yeah, because it would really, it would be detrimental, I think, to, you know what I mean? Because it ruins it. Why do you want to know the ending of the mystery? Because then why are you watching?
Yeah.
You know, you remember the bad guy in John Wick 2, the brother who has his sister, who has John Wick kill his sister and stuff.
Yeah.
He's in this.
Okay.
He's good. Tina Fey is in it.
Love Tina.
Does not feel like in your head, like at least in my head, like she should fit in this story.
Right.
She's American.
Yeah. But she
totally works. Yep. Michelle Yeoh is in this. Kelly Riley is in this. She's redhead. You'd recognize her. Who else is that? Everybody, I think, mostly. There's a couple other characters, but so good. The aesthetics are beautiful. So, yeah, I hope you get to see this soon.
Maybe next week. I'm kicking off my kids to university this weekend, so that's a busy one. But I definitely want to see that at the cinema. Is it worth seeing at the cinema, or should you wait?
I enjoyed it at the cinema. I mean, I think it's something that you could wait to see it at home. It's not like I was watching it on IMAX, like it was made for IMAX. I mean, it was great to see it in a dark theater with, you know, the big imagery and the sound, because there are things where you're like, ooh, you know, or ooh, that's creepy, because it pulls in the idea of the supernatural. That's all I'm going to say about that part of it. So it has this tone to it where, I don't know. There you go. Well, I do know, but
okay, nice. I did not expect to be talking about this week.
Okay.
Because there's been six series, spin-off series of The Walking Dead. Like, I kid you not, 6 different. There's been Dead City. I'm just going to get these names right before everybody kills me. Yeah, The Walking Dead, Dead City. There is... That's coming next year. Macone and Rick. So they're the lady with the dreads. Pretty cool lady. And obviously Rick. And then there's The Walking Teens, or I should rather say The World Beyond.
Walking Teens.
Yep. We had 2 seasons of that malarkey, and we had an anthology series called Tales of the Walking Dead. Fear of the Walking Dead's just finishing now. So, and I think I've seen all of them.
Did you name the one that has Negan and Maggie?
Yeah, Dead City. Yeah,
Dead City. Okay.
Yeah. So, Daryl Dixon is a new Walking Dead spin-off series. There are 6 episodes. Firstly, I should say it's already been picked up for a second season, so it's not a complete miniseries. It's not a complete story, but it does have an arc that it sort of completes, but it also leaves our character at the end having to make a decision of what he's going to do for the future, and it just leaves it there. So although I hate cliffhangers, for this it works, especially because we know that we're getting a second season. This was great. This was really good. This is like a return to form, because I think it deals with one character that a lot of people know and love. He's this really, I'm not going to say grumpy, but he's in his head all the time. Daryl doesn't, he's a man of few words, but a man of a lot of action. Like, he has that sort of, he's a man, I'm going to say a man's man, but he has this moral compass that I've always liked, even if it gets him into real trouble. Like, he will take on a bunch of people that he'll probably end up dying. You know, that's that thought. If I die trying to save these people, that's okay with me. So because of what's happened at the end of The Walking Dead, he's found himself on shore in France. And he needs to get back. Yeah, he was put on a boat.
Okay.
Yeah, he was put in a boat, and then he wakes up on shore. Yeah, so
like a ship or a boat?
No, like I don't want to spoil it but yeah, okay. So it starts with like a bit of, he's on a wreck, he's tied to a bit of rope, so he's obviously escaped a wreckage, and he's just like literally like basically dying, and he kind of floats into shore, and he's like, he needs water, he's trying to survive, get all his stuff, and then he's trying to figure out where the hell he is. He has no clue, and he's like, what is this place? First person is like, speaks to him, on a baguette? No, they don't do that. They just speak in Maurice, the baguettes.
It doesn't hurt because you're dead.
Exactly. So he's, you know, he can't speak to people because he doesn't speak the language. It's an American. You know, everybody's like, oh, it's the American. You know, that sort of. But France looks brilliant. Like, as in post-apocalyptic France, the overgrown. You think about the architecture, you know, with the tall buildings. But like the old kind of stonework, but with like just overgrown. It doesn't look green screen. I don't know quite how they did it. It must be, but it's the effect that they planned. Some of it is like real sets, so that way he's walking between, you know, broken cars. The thing that they did right was they made zombies scary again, because they do something with the zombies. They do something different this time around, which is brilliant. So bad guys are doing bad stuff to the zombies, and now we have a sort of new breed that makes them really dangerous again. So rather than Daryl going around, you know, just stabbing a few, taking on a horde of zombies, we've had 50 seasons, like altogether probably, of zombies, and like we've seen almost everything. However, because it's Daryl on the journey trying to find his way home, you're rooting for him already. But it's the people that he starts befriending along the way that he can't help himself. Like, he needs to get home, but he somehow finds himself now escorting someone to another location because they believe a certain thing. He likes this certain nun, and like he's on a journey again, and he meets up with like bad people, finds himself in a pit surrounded by special zombies, and this is how it works. So there's only 6 episodes. I would say the best thing to do with this is wait until the 6 episodes are there, and just binge it in a day. Like, it's one story that works really well. I think you're going to be frustrated if you're just like watching one bit as it gets week to week, even though you want the season to continue and have good numbers so they don't cancel it. It's been greenlit for a 2nd season already. I think if people go back and watch it on the streaming, they'll see it picked up because people are watching it a number of episodes together. Norman Reedus plays this character brilliant. There's some dialogue moments where we get to see him a bit emotional as well, which is great because the character needed some of that. It's not one of those series where you're expecting huge emotional depth or monologues. What you want is an adventure, an escapism, a reason to care, good prosthetics, but actually a story that makes you want to come back every week. Tense enough. And they've managed to do that. The humans still suck. The Norman Reedus is still the hero, escorting people down the line. Prosthetics is great, and the zombies are scary again. It literally went back to what worked at the beginning, and went, oh yeah, this used to work, let's do that, and it does. Nice. There's a few flashbacks of when we get to see a character like in the world before it was, and how they ended up where they did, and that connects to not a redemption of a character, but the arc of a character wanting to be better, and that really works in this series. So I was surprised. I was like, damn, maybe because I went in with like really low expectations. Sure. I'm sure that plays a part into it, but Norman Reedus, you know, he's made a career out of walking now. He did Death Stranding, where he's that character walking, and now he's being from The Walking Dead. Now he's got his own series walking, and I think he's excellent. So
nice.
Cheers.
Right on. You got anything else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. I don't have anything else.
Okay. I guess I'll be quick with this one because you've spoken about it before a few weeks ago, but it just came to digital download. I watched Talk to Me. I wasn't sure I was gonna watch it because it looked pretty creepy, to be honest. But I really like the gimmick of this. It's a hand. It has some lore behind it. It's a porcelain hand that has like a bunch of things written on it. If you grip it, what you see after you say a bunch of words is different for everybody, which I think is really interesting. And then you gotta say, and just for the record, I would never say like "let me in." There are reasons why you hear of the dodgy stories with the Ouija boards or the Ouija boards or the Ouija board or however you want to pronounce it. That sort of like, even if you don't believe, there's still reasons why you just don't tempt fate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't screw that stuff. And the way these kids tempt fate, they deserve everything they get. Like, what? When you see someone's eyes go black and then they start speaking in a different voice and contort, there's like whatever you think demons are or ghosts or whatever. Should you really be messing with that in the way they are? They're not even like ghost hunters or ghost faces being respectful. They're playing it like a spin the bottle game, you know?
Yeah. A complete party game.
Yeah. I was just like, this is going to end up ruined. And then there are moments that are genuinely creepy. Like when things go wrong, I was just like, dude, that was done so well. Like I didn't expect that. But I think it's the ending that, like, I kind of figured out that's the way it was going to go, but I still was like, yeah, that is harsh. It kind of goes that way. Now, because they've got a sequel coming to this, I'm wondering if they're going to use that ending. Because that's the only... I don't want them to go with it just a whole... someone else has their hand and then they go through this.
Yeah.
It needs to be connected to this. And it needs to explain the story and maybe have a little hope or a redemption sort of storyline. That would be cool if you could fight the evil some way.
Or even an origin story.
Yeah.
To see how this, you know.
Yeah. It's quite unique. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I thought the story, I mean, that was one of the best parts about this was that it was a different story. You know, I mean, this wasn't a rehashing of things. I mean, it's like, wow, okay, unique, original.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'd never seen anything like what they do here. Yeah.
My biggest complaint was the way that they held tension or actually didn't hold tension for me. That I felt it was very up and down.
It's definitely up and down for sure.
Okay.
That probably helped me. So I could breathe in between the holy crap moments.
Okay. Yeah, that was the biggest downfall for me is that it couldn't maintain, you know what I mean, that creep factor.
There's
that
some moments at work though, like just a couple of like things that aren't scary, but for some reason were really scary for me. Like they're trying to get someone to let go of the hand, but can't. And this brute of a man, strong dude, is trying to get them to let go. And it's like that for me was terrifying. I was like, oh, because the person that's holding onto it is tiny, right? And it's like, well, what's going on there? Or a kid injuring themselves, but having no. I was like, dude,
that was messed up.
It was brutal. Great moments, I'm so glad this is behind my TV and I can hide right now. So that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I'm glad you got to see it.
Cool. I don't have any anime, but I have anime news just to let everybody know that really soon we're going to have new Naruto episodes. Naruto has been done for a while, but they're coming back for I think it's like a short season where they're going to include his son Boruto. I always think of you sound like a burrito, Naruto and his burrito. Yeah, so we're living in a world where they're revitalizing some of the biggest anime. The top 3, One Piece obviously is still going. I'm busy watching the second season of Bleach, the new season. That was dead for years and they came back. And now we're having Naruto come back as well. So for anime fans, those are probably really happy. I'm sure you're on top of the new Bleach. I'm sure you're still watching Naruto because there's over 1,000 episodes, and now we're going to get Naruto, which is great.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Everything?
Yeah, that's all me done.
Okay. Hey, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We appreciate your eyeballs, your googly eyes, and your googly ears, as Ruben had said. I don't know what googly ears are.
I don't know what those either.
That's a new horror movie. Hey, like Ruben had mentioned, we have a Patreon. The £1 gets you in the access to everything that we have there. New stuff going up all the time. Even a couple that are outside the paywall, so you can get a sample of what we get up to. We have a couple dropping this week, a series review, a movie review, and then we also put our whole audio portion that you can only get on the podcast and the video that you were just watching together with all video on there as well, just as an added bonus if you want to sit and watch that. Yeah. So check that out, patreon.com/thebeardedones. We do have a podcast, like I said. You can find us pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just search The Best Thing We Watched This Week. We will pop up there. Links are in the description as well. And if you go over there and you do happen to listen to us, if you could rate and review us, that would be huge. Do all the YouTube-y stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday. Me, Chris, Movies and Munchies. Coming up in the podcast part, we're doing... What in the world was that?
Just trying to see how many people are still watching. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what Ruben was doing. We have news, entertainment news, things to put on your watch calendar, just some of the things that we're looking forward to. We're going to talk about either the worst thing we watched this week or the thing that just maybe didn't make our list. And then we are also talking about a movie I had never seen. Ruben hadn't seen it in quite a while. Expendables 3. We watched that because the 4th movie is coming out very shortly. So we wanted to get prepared for that. So we are going to do that review as well. With that, we will see you next week. All right. Take care.